God of War is Sony's next big exclusive for the PS4. It's just about a month away now, but initial impressions from the preview build have just landed. And some early tech analysis of the game is, quotes, extremely promising.
God of War is out on the PS4 on April the 20th. It's the latest title from Sony Santa Monica, the studio best known for their work on the God of War series ever since it first arrived on PS2 in 2005. Now, the games have always been action-adventure hack-and-slash titles based on ancient mythology, but things are changing a bit with the upcoming God of War, which quite confusingly is just called God of War, even though there already is a game called God of War from 2005, and God of War is the name for the whole series, and this isn't even strictly a reboot or anything. It's actually very much a continuation of the story, but I don't know. God of War 2018 is the 8th installment in the series. It's 8th chronologically in the series story and is a sequel to 2010's God of War 3. But rather than focus squarely on Greek mythology as the series has done up to this point, it focuses loosely this time on Norse mythology. Series protagonist Kratos returns with a brand new beard and a new axe. And that new axe is a big deal as the game's perspective and combat look radically different from previous games, with the action and the focus taking place much tighter in and closer than in previous games.
So let's chat a little bit about how the combat looks. It looks really f***ing sharp, doesn't it? The way that he uses his axe, just the movement. It looks really fun to play. You know, you throw your axe into somebody's head and they freeze. There's like a freezing axe or something in it. For someone who wasn't excited about the game at all, I've never played any of the previous games, it got me really interested by having watched this footage. That's for sure.
I think what stands out about the combat most is just how different it is. The gameplay does not look like the gameplay from the series, but I quite like that they've done this. And in that sense, I guess it is kind of a reboot, and they're changing the mythology and they're moving the story beyond what they've already told, which is good. But yeah, the combat is a huge part of that because it just looks so different.
It looks really satisfying. Like there's a over-the-shoulder camera, which is like Dark Souls. Everyone says Dark Souls. How long does it take to say Dark Souls in any review of a game these days? People liken it to Horizon Zero Dawn as well. And with the added element of the little kid who does like jump kicks and like shoulder charges. I mean, it looks really, really interesting.
I think it kind of looks like The Last of Us, to be honest. That way it's really tight in and claustrophobic and using the wooden planks or whatever in The Last of Us, just decking some dudes. It kind of looks a bit like that.
Sites across the internet have shared their early impressions based on the preview builds of the game this week, with Eurogamer's digital Foundry team saying the game is set to be PS4's next big tech showcase. Based on the tech analysis of 16 minutes of the game running on a PS4 Pro, God of War uses checkerboard rendering to hit a 4K resolution, and the image looks sharper than Horizon. Writer John Linman says it's shaping up to be one of the cleanest 4K games available on the platform, and that it should comfortably sit alongside the likes of Uncharted 4 and Horizon Zero Dawn when it comes to the quality of its tech. Quote, right away it's clear that what's on display here is extremely promising. Kratos himself is extremely detailed and beautifully shaded with lots of fine detail. I want someone to describe me like that. Beautifully shaded, lots of
You want to get animated in the game then, mate, that's the way in.
Quotes go on. The world itself is extremely cohesive, with visual elements working together to create something natural yet fantastical. This is the first time we've seen the series properly represented on current generation hardware, and it shines.
Elsewhere, impressions have focused more on the mature, gritty feel of the game's opening 2 hours. Digital Trends says the game gives the franchise a brain and a heart, while The Verge says God of War's first 2 hours show a more mature game. Polygon said it's shaping up to be an emotional journey, and Eurogamer assured fans that despite having grown up, Kratos is still mad as hell. All this sounds a world away from the series' fairly straightforward setup of an angry man, brackets demigod, battering some Greek gods. The anger is still very much there, as is the spectacle, but a lot has moved on as well.
Early this week, footage of the game leaked onto the internet showing a close look at the game's combat system before the preview embargo lifted. The 9 minutes of gameplay showed Kratos chucking his axe at some fools in typically brutal fashion and just generally decking some monsters. That leak followed an earlier set of screenshots which slipped onto the internet which showed off some of the game's locations. Embargo got lifted at a very specific point in time, right? This is the very next of Sony's exclusive titles, and there's a lot of hype and hysteria about it right now. But who else has got an exclusive releasing pretty much on the same day, Mike? That's right, I'll tell you. Xbox. It's a bit of a coincidence, don't you think, taking the shine off the Sea of Thieves that's coming out today. Everyone's talking about this now.
Yeah, I think this can't be a coincidence. Very tactical mouse. Some nice moves there, I guess, from Sony's part. What I think we should point out is kind of not a surprise, I guess, that God of War is getting this kind of technical breakdown that's saying, oh, it's going to be one of the best looking games on the console. Of course it is. It's a Sony first party title, pretty much, and it's like, you know, one of their core catalogue of exclusives and stuff. It's going to have to be up there with Horizon Zero Dawn and Uncharted, because if it wasn't, it would be disappointing. It's a year off from Horizon now. It's a long time after Uncharted, so it needs to be pushing the boundaries of what the PS4 Pro can do now. And yeah, I'm not surprised in the least bit that it's shaping up to be one of the best looking games on the system. I think it's cool that they've changed the dynamic of the game, basically. They've kind of tried to evolve it and thematically mature it as well, but still trying to keep fans happy with like the brutality and the rage of Kratos and stuff. They're keeping all that in, but still moving it forwards. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it reviews, but yeah, I think it's shaping up.
Not only the rage and all that, but he's got a beard now.
He's got a beard, yeah. I mean, he's a different dude.
What isn't improved with the beard, Mike?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are your early impressions based on the footage we've seen of God of War this week? Let us know down in the comments below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, check out that video on your screen there, and if you want to support the channel, you can click on the Patreon link there and do just that. We will see you again in the next video. Until then, bye for now.